You know what sucks? Gravity. Don't you wish that objects could levitate? Well, they can in gyroscopic precession. In order to understand gyroscopic precession, we need to know torque, angular momentum, and their relationship. Let's get started. First of all, what is torque? Torque is the cross product of the force and the moment arm. The moment arm is just a fancy way of saying the distance between the turning axis and the point where the force is applied. A great example of torque is pushing on a door. If you push on it too close to the hinge, it's much more difficult to open than pushing farther away from it. Pretty intuitive, right? Now that we've covered torque, let's take a look at angular momentum. Angular momentum is defined as the moment of inertia multiplied by the object's rotational velocity. A cool thing about angular momentum is that it's always conserved. But that's only true if there is no external torque. Here I am spinning on a stool with a couple of heavy weights in my hands. At this moment, the weights are pretty far out, causing the R value to be quite large. Now let's say I bring my arms in. All of a sudden, the radius of my circular motion has decreased, and now I'm starting to spin faster. Due to the conservation of angular momentum, when the radius gets smaller, the angular velocity increases because the total angular momentum does not change. Now that you know a little bit about torque and angular momentum, let's talk about what they have in common. Torque and angular momentum are also vectors, and they have a direction which we can find with the right-hand rule. And one more note. Just like the product of force and time is equal to a change in linear momentum, the product of torque and time is equal to a change in angular momentum. Now we can explain gyroscopic motion. Here is a wheel hanging from the ceiling in precession. At any moment, there is a force downwards on the wheel due to gravity. If it weren't spinning, we'd expect the wheel to fall and swing about the axis. That means that the force of gravity is actually causing a torque on the wheel. And as we know from our right-hand rules, a torque has a direction perpendicular to both the moment arm and the force. Now, since the wheel is spinning, it has angular momentum. The direction of the angular momentum is in the same plane as the torque. But listen to this. If you remember from earlier that torque is equal to a change in angular momentum, then we can do vector addition and find the resulting angular momentum. The bike wheel will then proceed to point in this direction and rotate about the axis. And that's how you can get an object to defy gravity.